What's up, guys? So Warren Williams here, leadership and transformation coach. So today the subject is about soul-led leadership. So I want to break this down in a way where it's usable, implementable, because it's not about information on the internet. You can research and get information for free. It's not about information. Information really means nothing. It's really about implementation. Okay, implementation, I'm sure you've heard this before, is where things go to the next level. So, first of all, we're going to preface this with just giving an overview of what I'm going to share with you today. So, we're going to talk about what leadership really is and how you utilize the three powers of leadership. Once you know the three powers, because the way the mind works is in order for you to be something, you have to understand something. And then we're going to talk about be, do, have. And then I'm going to also talk about the three types of leadership. So if you're a coach or a business leader, you have employees and you're not getting the requirements you want out of them, it might be because you don't understand what true leadership really is, because there are three facets to leadership. Okay, so let's start with leadership itself. So when you look at the medieval sort of times, as people mention, or you look at the original kings and queens prior to the modern day ruling system, what you realize is that those people said what they mean and mean what they say. Now, we all know, and this is the thing that is so funny about the game we're all playing. We all know, all of us, whether we will lie to ourselves or not, we all know that politicians are just playing. They're just players, politricks, as a lot of people say. What happens is we inherently don't really trust politicians to lead us correctly. But the way the system is set up is we only have two choices, right? This person or that person. They're both not very good. They're not true leaders, but we just pick what we think is the lesser of two evils, the one that we hope is better than what we think. Why? Is because we truly know in our heart of hearts that most people in positions of power aren't true leaders. They are mostly dictators and they are also liars and fabricators. Think about this. How many times have you watched politicians or senators or any of these sort of people being questioned and they never give a straight answer? Did you do such and such? Well, it's the... They can't say yes or no. And the person tries to press them, just say yes or no. It's not as simple as that. They are masters of avoiding. They have played the game to the point where they're able to navigate rather than actually solve problems. That's not what leadership is. A leader, let me define this for you. Okay. Leadership, it's about being the peaceful warrior. It's really about leading by example. You've heard this term before. That is a point to that. I will do something, and through my actions, you will follow based on what you see me do, not what you hear me say. So on the battlefield in the wars, the kings would ride out in battle at the front of the line. And yet today in the modern world, we have politicians and leaders that press buttons behind the bunker. That's not leadership. And I'm not saying our politicians need to go and shoot a gun. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is leadership is about being the example. So, leadership again, it means meaning what you say, saying what you mean. And that's different, by the way. If you mean what you say, it means it's not something you're saying to win votes. It's not something you're saying to convince people. It's something that's in your heart. You mean what you say. It is something that is soul sovereign. It is something that is authentic. You truly mean what you say. And then you only say, you only articulate, you only speak about what you really mean. It's so different. One creates the other. It's also standing by your word. So when you are a true leader, when someone says they will do something, they will do it. And because you've seen the example through the actions, you put more trust, not faith, trust in the person because of what you've witnessed in the past. That person becomes a leader in your eyes because they lead by example. So it's also the ability to speak your truth all the time, regardless of whether it hurts someone. You are speaking your truth and you find a way to articulate it where it disarms people from defending their point of view to try to prove that what you're saying is incorrect. The beautiful art of leadership is disarming people from defending so that they can hear the words. Leadership is about non-violent communication, articulating your truth in a way that allows people to hear it. This is leadership. And now a leader exudes three powers in the Native American culture. They talk about these three powers of leadership, which are position, presence, and communication. Position, similar to what I said earlier, it's what you stand for and how you stand. Now, because I don't want to get this taken down from YouTube, I'm going to be kind of vague with what I say here. Think about what happened in March 2020. People around you that you knew, that you thought would stand for something and just didn't and got, you know what? And most of them didn't want to get it. And you can debate whether they were forced into it or not. What I'm saying here is standing by what you believe. That's what a leader is. That's what position is. What you stand for and how you stand, regardless of peer pressure. If you believe a specific thing, no one can shift your point of view. That is position. And then presence. Presence is when you walk into a room, you shift the room. You know people that do the opposite, right? You're all happy and joking and laughing, and then someone comes in that, oh, why is this person here? Because as soon as that person walks into the room, it just puts a downer on the room. That's presence, but in a negative way. So we're looking at true presence in the uplifting, positive way. You walk into a room, you say a speech, and everyone's motivated now. Think about that king that I just mentioned earlier. He gives the army that that speech, right? He gives them the speech, and they're rallied, buoyed by that powerful speech, motivated, and they fight with more conviction. That's presence. Even a beautiful man or a woman walks into a room and everybody notices them. That's presence. It's not just the fact that they're beautiful, it's the fact that there's energy to their beauty. And then finally is communication. It's the ability to articulate things so clearly that even an 8-year-old can understand a complex thing. That is true communication. It's the ability to, as I said, disarm people by your speech, being able to say things with such conviction, knowing when to pause to allow people to digest that information. Your inflections, your tone, all of this represents communication. Think about people like Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King. They have incredible ways of expressing very slowly but meaningfully. So these are forms of leadership. And obviously, with what I've just used just now as examples, you can take this and apply it to your life in modern day. If I'm running a speech, if I'm doing a presentation, or if I'm doing a keynote, if I'm on stage, I should talk slower. I should give people time to process the information and know when to pitch, when to be emotional. This is the things that we're saying to ourselves. And you learn this from your diction, your pacing. You communicate in such a powerful way that people want to hear you. But you exude a powerful presence because you are so authentic to your own truth that your presence is felt. And you mean what you say and you say what you mean, and people get your position. This is when you are in a state of absolute leadership. And I hope this makes sense to you. You can apply this to your life. You can realize the real lies and become your own truth, not a puppet for other people. not pedestaling anyone, but realizing your own greatness within you. And when you do that and you accept your own greatness, you accept the power you were given, then you start to step into the role of leadership. Because leadership starts with leadership of self. And that basically means your own core values, your own convictions, your own foundational thoughts become your own, not influenced by other people. You decide what's right and wrong in your own eyes. And when you do that, you fully step into the power you are given within yourself. From a soul-led point of view, you become a soul-led leader. And other people feel it. And they gravitate to you because you are infectious, but in a positive way. That is leadership. And so now I want to shift gears. I want to just talk about how we use this, maybe as a CEO or a coach, and you have a team of people and you may be leading them the wrong way, and many people are. I want to just share something on that for a second. Most people in the Western world have heart attacks on Monday morning, 8:30 Monday morning. I've shared this before in other posts. But just really think about that. It's because most people don't want to do what they're doing. And most of them is also relating to the leader of their company, the CEO or the boss. And this now moves into the first type of leader. So this first type of leader is known as the title leader. I'm your supervisor. I'm your boss. Do what I say. And they throw these titles around to put you into a state of fear or a state of vulnerability so that they can tell you to do something that's dictating to you. That's not leadership. That is coercion. That's dictation. And if you lead like that, sure, you'll get people to do what you want them to do, but for how long? Everybody has a tolerance level. And this may explain why, if you lead in that style, you constantly lose employees. It's not the right way to lead. It's not true leadership. A leader inspires, not puts fear into people's minds. So that's the first form. The second form of leadership is the trade leader. And the trade leader will say to you, if you work these 5 more hours, or if you hit your targets, you'll get a 20% commission. You may think, what's wrong with that? It's all good. For you as the employee, it's all good. But it's not the right way to lead. It's an incentivized leadership. It's not an inspired leadership. People are doing it because it's transactional, not because they're inspired. We're not supposed to have employees. We're supposed to have teams. We're supposed to have people that are invested in us, a shared vision. Those are the people that are truly working with us in the cohesive way because they're doing it because they believe in what you believe in. Going back to Martin Luther King for a second, when he did the famous Million Man March, even though there's men and women there, they just call it the Million Man March. There was no internet, there weren't no tweets and reels and all these sort of things. How did you get 1 million people there? Because they believed what he believed in freedom. And so when you inspire people rather than incentivize people, you create people who are what I call mission partners rather than employees. So that's why incentivization doesn't work, because if another company incentivizes that person with more profit, they'll jump ship because they're not inside the system like you are. They're not invested in the story. So look at that and think about how you're leading, because that's not true leadership. And then the third form of leadership, which is the one we should all aspire to, is the servant leader. When you, as a leader, become more of a servant, you inspire others because you realize the more you can teach your employees, the better the service they can do for the company. So you go into every meeting saying, what can I do for you? How can I help you lead? How can I help you with your particular challenge so that you can show up as the best version of yourself? Because I realize when you are the best version of yourself, that can only help the company grow. I share a quick story. I remember hearing about someone who ran a company and it was a commission-based system that they had, so similar to what we just spoke about with the trade leader. And he was complaining that his staff member who was doing the highest sales was making $1 million a year through sales. And he didn't like that. But think about it. If that person's on a commission, you want them to make the highest commission possible because that only means they are making the most money for the company. So see what I mean? Like that's not true leadership. Like you don't want that person to do well. You just want them to make the money for the company. And so when you see someone doing well financially, and you've only incentivized and you're not really connecting to the person on an energetic, empathetic, authentic level, you see your employees just as cogs in a wheel rather than people that share your vision. But when you do it properly and you become the servant leader, you realize the better that person does for themselves is the better they're doing for the company because they're putting energy into the company. Because they're doing that, the company grows. This is the form of leadership we should have. So I want you to really think about that and become more of a servant leader. Support other people by helping them to understand the mission and also helping yourself understand them. And then once you become a community of people working together, you are building something so beautiful that it's infectious, but in a positive way. And then the company has a specific energy that other people can read. We are moving into an era of time where people are starting to realize it's about energy. Infrastructure is always there, but it's about the energy of the company because more and more people are becoming energetically aware. And now they are making purchase choices based on whether they like the person or like the ethos or the mission statement of the business, rather than because it's selling something cheaper than another company. And when you understand this and you understand that everything is energy, things change. Everything changes. So I hope this has made some sense to you. If you want to go deeper, really there's so many layers to this because understanding creates liberation. And if you want to go deeper into this and really understand yourself and understand leadership, then I invite you into my free newsletter, Telegram group, video system. And it's called Soul Aligned Leaders. I'll be leaving a link in the comments, in the text. I invite you to join this program. It's free. It's a 1 year powerful system of 49 newsletters over 1 year that build upon and build upon. I really mean that. It's based on my energetic alchemy system for my private one-on-one clients. And I'm giving you quite a bit of the information that I teach my one-on-one clients that pay, high five figures to work with me privately. You'll get access to this for free. It's a community built through Telegram, as well as a mail list and newsletters that build layer upon layer upon layer, giving you deep insights into my energetic alchemy system, my protocol, which is quantum the mind, rituals the practices, energetics the field, embodiment the body, and harmonics the expression. All about integrating you into a soul-led leader. It's also got videos that come with it as well. And the community and answers, the question and answers that go through the community is an amazing way to build community with other soul-led people, to start to build friendships, to feel seen, to feel heard, to have your deepest questions answered, and to learn more, to become an incredible, powerful, soul-led leader, human being, entrepreneur, CEO, guide. If you're interested, once again, click the link in the information below, and I so look forward to seeing you there. Until next time, stay healthy, happy, whole, and whole be in health. Much love.